plays the young Emil in his glory. Eric Owens is the elderly Emil, revisiting scenes from his past as a boxer and a closeted gay man. Conducted by Yannick Nazay-Seguin, don't miss Terrence Blanchard's Champion on great performances at the Met.
Tune in February 13th at 10 p.m. on WTJX-TV Channel 12.
Good morning. This is meteorologist Russ Murley with your WTJX local forecast. This is Thursday, the 5th day of February. Spotty showers on the way today, mid-80s. A few heavier downpours early. East to southeast winds at 10 to 20 diminish. Partly cloudy with isolated showers tonight, mid-70s. Tomorrow, look for partly sunny skies, 83 to 87. We'll see a few clouds tomorrow night, mid-70s. Partly, if not mostly sunny on Saturday, middle to upper 80s. Rip current risk will remain elevated at area beaches today. A rough surf will persist as well. Explore the complexities of Governor Turnbull's 8 years in office. Coming up tonight on The Governor's Charles W. Turnbull at 8 p.m. on WTJX-TV, Channel 12.
WTJX 93.1 Charlotte Amalia, your NPR station in the Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here on Lasers, wrapping up our conversation with Malik Siku before we transition to DPNR Commissioner Jean-Pierre Oriol. So, Malik, good morning once again.
Yes.
Now, you were saying?
Hold on, Neville. I don't want to give Aya Chibo. I'm talking St. Thomas. I want to give Aya Chibo. I don't want to give you a shortcut. I hear you using some terms that we don't use in St. Thomas no more. So if you hear me say like I'm correct to use, it's like a classroom. I hear you calling the Puerto Rican people a name we don't use them more. We call them no Boricua. We don't call them Papa no. That's considered a derisive term. Maybe in St. Croix it could be a more harmless, right? But I forget to mention that in the 1936 Organic Act, it stated that to vote you had to be able to read and write English. So it prevented the Spanish speakers and French speakers from participating. In St. Croix, you have Spanish speakers or we had French people. In a way. Yeah. And 54, it says no language issue again.
No, hold on a second. So I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Mama and Papa is a problem or Boricua is a problem? Which one's a problem?
No. Mama and Papa is a problem. You don't call, over here you call any Puerto Rican a Papa, you getting blows. The man knocks it up. Certain words, you can't call people Eastern Caribbean any kind of name either except
No.
You can't call the Dominicanos Santo, you call them Dominicano or Cristiano. I tell you how it is.
I learned it. So you're telling me Boricua.
Yes, Boricua, yeah. Right. And Bad Bunny make it so that everybody can know what Boricua mean. The whole world know what Boricua mean because of Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
So I was saying, even your terminology, look how the society has changed.
But check this out. When I used to watch basketball, when Puerto Rico would be playing in other islands and other countries, and Channel 2 and Channel 4, and they say Coqui. That's another one too. When them used to make a lot of bars, when them Manhattan, and then around, that's the term they used to use, check. So. But our mama and papa thing is an affectionate thing and St. Croix. That's an affectionate thing over here. You know, I just let you know. You know what I'm saying? That's a term of endearment over here.
I know that. I know that because as I tell people, but certain terms it could be used only among our people. So of course, over here, St. Thomas is used as an insult. Anyway, I
learned once again. By the way, I told me on this community studio, JP Oriol there, so you could say good morning to the big shot commissioner before I excuse you.
Yeah. Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Yeah. So I mean, and then never what we're doing in this class is giving nuances within the Virgin Islands. There are nuances that There's a Virgin Islands Creole, which is like a dialect, but each island has its own version. Think again is version or versions, because I'm told West End Crucian talking from East End Crucian. That's a different discussion.
Yes.
St. Thomas, and even St. John. That we could tell how people say things, and even like how you say the word papa as a term of endearment.
Oh, by the way, since you went the one I was listening to Chanel and she said estate nada, and you and I know that word is that's two different things for how it's spelled. You know what I'm saying? As a professor, right? You know that nadir is a proper enunciation, proper pronunciation.
No. Wait, man. In American English has 22 dialects.
Okay.
Depending on which part of America, the words have a different sound and meaning. Even from Texas, even in Texas, depending on which part of Texas, they have different ways of pronouncing things.
Correct.
New Yorkers don't still like Texans. So
but by definition, nadir is below the earth's surface.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I in St. Thomas believe I could take word how I want and make it sound like nothing because we know nada to be nothing. Right? But are you making it an estate name when it ain't spelled like that? That's how I use over there in St. Thomas.
That's correct. In the Caribbean, half our dialect we mispronouncing the original European name. We repurpose.
So I got style here. What you saying now? I repurpose a name. Watch out.
Yes. So I want to bring it into our discussion.
Yeah.
What he didn't say is that by 1954, by the Spanish-speaking provision changing, the Unity Party had a group of Boricua Unity Party members who got organized as a bloc. I heard you mention that yesterday, how the Boricua them was prominent. So you had the Boricua rising into the political system. So Hector Cintrón and others could step in.
Santiago Garcia, the whole list of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Candido Guadalupe. The list goes on. Yeah.
That's correct. So what you saw in the 1990s will be a culmination. That's an English word I like to use. A culmination of different blocks of voters coming to their power. So the Eastern Caribbean voters became a power unto themselves. The Puerto Rican voters a power. And then the Frenchies. And Frenchies are the term of endearment.
Yes.
French people who live over here, they used to support Mango Jones, Randy Lugo as a senator. But once he got into the delegate role, they needed somebody who they believe would have been an effective spokesman for Frenchy issues, and they looked to Kane McGrath and Lorraine Berry.
Yeah, the Queen Bee lasts for 24 years. I'm gonna let you know when you're coming out, cause we got to touch on that Texas special election last week because that one still resonating. Got establishments on the mainland concerned about what to expect for the 2026 midterm. So I'm gonna reach out to you, let you know. If possible, I want to make it a part of the table talk on a Monday.
I will end by saying that election is the Ansang. The term. Not Ansang means it's the beginning of something. Ansang. We'll talk. Have a great day.
No, man. Thanks for the contribution. I appreciate the education. Malik Siku from out of the rack, UVI professor. And, of course, every time I get him on, it's a learning experience. Let me transition directly to Commissioner Jean-Pierre.
Yep.
Jean-Pierre Oriol, Commissioner of Department of Planning and Natural Resources. Welcome to Analyze This in the Flesh. Got you here in the studio. Everything all right?
Yeah, man. Everything is good. Glad I made it over. You know, the weather hadn't been cooperating for a couple of days.
I was worrying, you know what I mean? That's why I asked my DJ. He called in. He said, no, you're going to be here in the studio. So that's a good thing. You're All Saints?
All Saints. Class of 95.
Episcopalian like myself. So good things going on here. You know, the governor is Episcopalian too, right? You see, he's a St. Dunstan 85.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're a little baby, so have some respect and some manners for the boys. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just teasing. How's the department?
Department is going well. You know, I think we're gonna be definitely closing out 2026 strong. We've got a couple of our buildings that we've had some FEMA PWs. We're gonna finish those. Long awaited. I mean, you know, I've been saying it for a while now. It's like every time you get inside one of those old buildings and you start to open up the walls a little bit, you start to see what was just left for the next man to do, you know? Right. And we didn't do that ourselves. We decided to take the challenge of fixing things properly, so we hopefully don't have to do any major repairs on some of these facilities for the next 50 years or so. make them stronger, more resilient. And so it's costed a lot more money than FEMA had even provide for us. But we think that the improvements that we're making are going to serve the community for a long time to come.
That's good. For those of you who don't know, all week long we've had administration representatives. On Tuesday we had Commissioner of Finance Kevin McCurdy and Office of Management and Budget Director Julio Rema. Yesterday we had the Tourism Commissioner Jennifer Matarangas-King, Jennifer Knight Matarangas-King, and today we got the Commissioner of Department of Planning and Natural Resources, Jean-Pierre Oriol. Glad to have you here. Now, your agency, I want to make sure I say this correctly. A significant portion of it is federally funded.
Significant, yes.
What percentage?
I'd say about
Ballpark.
70 to 75.
That's significant.
Yes.
And then, so that requires you that these positions, they have to work within the parameters and confines of federal programs and federal personnel.
Yes.
Guide. Break that down. So, explain to the public the distinction between the local employees in DPNR and the federal employees.
Well, no, actually, there's really no distinction. I think, what we have with a lot of the awards that we receive from the federal government, they're called cooperative agreements. And so, particularly the regulatory divisions, they're mandated to execute the requirements of the National Environmental Policy Act. So whether it's your historic preservation, your clean water, clean air, coastal zone management, endangered species, hazardous. So our programs are here on the regulatory side to execute the policies of the Federal National Environmental Policy Act and any local provisions that we have created for ourselves. And so, when they give us these cooperative agreements, they're for us to run within the parameters of the Office of Management and Budget federally, but they're to conform with the laws, whether that's procurement, personnel, all of those things. They're to conform with the laws of the government of the Virgin Islands in order to execute those programs. So.
And as a senator, I was told in orientation, those laws you're referring to, they can be in contradiction of federal laws.
Correct. They cannot contradict.
Okay, good. Now, what's your relationship with EPA? EPA is a federal entity. Zeno Bain, he's still here? Zeno's still here?
Zeno's still here.
That's good. That's good news. Yeah. What's the relationship with EPA?
No, we have a very good relationship with the EPA. It over the last several years, it's been difficult for the department to actually, hire employees. And
you short staff right now?
Very much so. Yes.
Wow.
Very much so.
So you got people who doing work beyond the scope?
Not beyond the scope, but there are things that are getting processed slower because we don't have enough people to actually keep pace with some of the requests, those types of things.
Well, they're going to yield to, make a recruitment statement for those who may be eligible.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, right, we've every time I go out, I'm always stating that, we need young Virgin Islanders, people with science degrees, meet those minimum science qualifications for us, but we have positions for, if you're interested in the actual science and research arms, we have openings for fisheries biologists, wildlife biologists, just environmental scientists in general, people who are doing inspections, whether that's for our groundwater program, our air program, our clean air, clean water program. So there are plenty of vacancies within the department. What I am proud of is that we have hired, a lot of our hires in the last few years have been not only locals, but also we're taking advantage of the master's program at the University of the Virgin Islands, the Master of Marine and Environmental Science. Proud to say that either individuals have started with the department and then went into the master's program, or we've kind of nabbed them up after they've finished their hard coursework and just are defending their thesis. So, that program was established for the Virgin Islands to develop and grow young talent. And and we're taking advantage of that. Another one, just yesterday, I found out that there's a national coral reef management fellowship program.
Okay.
And it's been there since 2005. So for the first time in 20 years, we're actually going to get a local Crucian as the management fellow for this national program that, across the 7 coral jurisdictions in the U.S., we get about 14,000 applications. The Virgin Islands probably got about 400.
Okay.
And for the first
That's
time.
a lot. When you talk about national and we getting 400 out of 14,000.
Because, again, like the program itself is international. And so you can have students who are working in California who say, hey, I want to go work on reefs in the Virgin Islands. We've had students apply from American Samoa. We've had students apply from Guam.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
So, but for the first time, we actually have selected, or I hope we selected. So I'm saying it there publicly, but I found out last night we selected a Crucian. So that's a big step for us because, again, we want to encourage our young people to get more involved in the sciences, be part of keeping our islands beautiful. So that's always my pitch to young people, and DPNR is fun. I mean, you don't have a desk job all day. Everything, you can find yourself outside in almost any division that you're working with. Even if you're in our financial division, right? Like, you're supporting all these things that are happening outside. From time to time, you can go out and see what are the things that you're doing on the financial side that you're supporting that's happening out there in the territory for you.
What's your relationship with the Department of Public Works? That has to be critical since you're in the planning business, and they're in the infrastructure business.
I would say leaps and bounds. Just the way that our partnership has expanded. Several years ago, in 2020, was sort of the first avenue in which we were strengthening this partnership. We received a grant from FEMA for about $900,000 to do some watershed plans across the territory. And what we identified were these areas where improvements to drainage could take place, particularly on roadways, off roadways, around switchbacks, those types of things, where now we were putting more water back into green space, recharging our aquifers, those types of things. And as one of the requirements that we had with the contractor was to identify at like a 30% design level, like where the most critical areas have been. Since then, we've shared all of those plans with Public Works. And my team, my watershed folks are working very closely with the roadway and highway engineering teams with Public Works as to now we're developing some of these 30% designs out to 100% for implementation. And they're including those in some of their FEMA PW projects for where storage can be, where we have changes in the switchbacks that would allow for that water accumulation to recharge the aquifers. So it's been a very, very good partnership. And then even from there now too, we've on our regulatory side, particularly where construction is tying into the roadways, we're working a lot closer together because what we see is a lot of people are not following the driveway permits for the connections onto the public roadway system. So they're demolishing sidewalks, changing the pitches, everything that mess with ADA access points, all of these things. So we're starting to crack down on that a lot more because, again, you have finding ability. Yes, we do. Okay. Yes, we do. Okay. And that's the thing is that Public Works doesn't have as much. And so now when we incorporate the things that they want to see into the permits that we issue, it allows us to be a little bit more effective in our enforcement capabilities.
We're talking with Commissioner Jean-Pierre Oriol from the Department of Planning and Natural Resources. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to go through each island because the environment is absolutely critical. It's I don't even want to say an extension. It's just a major part of us marketing the Virgin Islands, given our tourism and our consumer-driven economy that we live in. So we'll take a break and we'll go through each island to include Water Island when we come back right after this. And we're back here on Analysis. We got the DPNR Commissioner Oriole here in the studio. Good morning once again, Commish.
Morning.
Glad to have you on. So, let me ask you, from personally, when you heard that Trunk Bay was deemed the #1 beach in the world, what emotion went through with you personally as the commissioner, the one who actually got the buck stopping responsibility to make sure that our environment, specifically our beaches, right, are protected, pristine, all that good stuff?
Yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Certainly,
pull the bike up a little bit so you can be directly into right there. There you go.
Definitely a feeling of pride, because again, that's our Virgin Islands is again continuing to be recognized on the world stage.
But we always knew it.
But
we always knew it.
Correct.
They just didn't know.
Correct.
Yeah.
But for me, like, as a Virgin Islander, like Trunk Bay, just too crowded. As wonderful as it is.
Well, that's a different discussion.
You know what I mean? No, but like
I'm talking about the fact that you got outsiders who come in here comparing it to other beaches and realizing that the titanium standard is here in the Virgin Islands, and you have a responsibility to protect that.
Yeah, absolutely, and if the same folks, were to who have the responsibilities for publishing and showing and seeing all of that, I would love to take them on a drive across the Virgin Islands and show them all the beaches, and guess what? We would have claimed all top 10 spots.
That's the kind of talk I want to hear.
That's definitely where it would have been, because again, I think Trunk Bay is
just one of many,
and it's renowned, and it's popular, and definitely worth the trip as a visitor here in particular. But there are so many wonderful places for us in the territory to actually go, relax, recharge our batteries, take care of ourselves mentally in terms of relaxation and catching our breath. There's some place you can go, every day, and it's funny because when you think about other islands like Antigua, and they say they have 365 beaches, and you have Dominica with all these rivers and everything like that. And again, I've been privileged through this job to go to a number of other islands and everything, not only here but in the Pacific, and
they can't pull up.
My home stands as one of one, so
they can't pull up. Now, another unique dynamic with Trunk Bay is it's located in a national park.
Yes.
So that requires another layer of relationship between the local government and the national park and the federal government.
Correct. And we've the DPNR and the national park have been partners on a number of things. Not only on the natural resource side, but on the cultural resource side as well. And so some of the historic buildings, everything, partnerships. We have seen in the past where there's been a lot of partnerships between us, things executed. I think that has gone away a little bit over the last 10 years or so, where the Park Service seems to just focus solely on like Park Service holdings. But again, our mandates between DPNR and the national park, our mandates are virtually the same. And it is to provide access to these public spaces for the citizens of not only the Virgin Islands, but the national and our visitors and everything. So I think that they're doing a pretty good job on all the Park Service holdings. I think that we are doing a very good job in making sure here locally on our government-owned spaces that we're keeping it pristine. We're making sure that access is available and having people just be able to enjoy these areas.
What's the priority for St. John?
For St. John, I mean,
In general.
In
total.
so
Yeah.
So right now we have a lot of things kind of moving. First and foremost, I'm really trying to get my office that was damaged in 2017 back up and running for the people of St. John.
Where were you at the time?
So at the time our office building is right in Cruz Bay. It's up by where the Sproul Library is.
Okay.
And so we actually share same cul-de-sac, and then now there's a new Head Start building that's being completed there as well, or has been completed.
So that's like Human Services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all in that same little pocket area there. And so our priority is to finish that building, restore full 100% services to St. John. But when we launched our electronic permitting initiative, that took a lot of load off of the designers on St. John, because now they're doing business with the department online. So they don't have to book a day just to come to St. Thomas to come and drop off plans or check on plans. Everything is inside the system. So we've done that. And then the second one, we're really trying to reopen the Sproul Library. We reopened in 2023. Had some staffing issues in terms of having people to manage it. We reopened in 2024. Unfortunately, like we had death in the DPNR family. Pam Richards was running the library for us, and she passed away. We had somebody went to another department, so we had some staffing issues. And then when we got staff and we thought we would be ready to open, then we suffered more operational issues. Like unfortunately, again, we talk about the homeless problem in the territory. There's an individual who had started residing on the property.
Wow.
And
that's a problem territory, right?
Yeah. So we had some issues where they cut electrical, cut things because they were trying to make their little encampment in a nice secure area where they wouldn't be bothered by the elements. So we've had to repair all of those things. So we're really trying to push to get the library back open by the end of this month. We thought we could have accomplished everything by last month, but some of these repairs, other operational things, getting more secure, better internet access, everything like that into the library facility, because we want to up the speed that we're doing business with. So hopefully by the end of this month, and those two things, main priorities, restoring those services for the people of St. John, and then also increasing the overall presence of the department on there. Once we get the office open, we can put a lot more staff over there as well.
Primary needs for St. Thomas?
The level of development that is taking place right now across the territory is, my primary need is just inspectors. I mean, I know the public doesn't expect us to be everywhere, because you can't, but we also have to be able to keep pace with all the development that is taking place. Recently, because people are building on Sundays now, right? Like, we used to never see people doing anything on a Sunday. And even across, I can hear from my porch on a Sunday morning when I have my coffee that somebody is jackhammering, changing the tile out on an existing deck, everything. So we've had some folks coming in and really asking about, hey, is development allowed on Sundays? Which means that also we have to change the model, right? We can't be a 8 to 5 Monday to Friday agency, because we know there's a whole lot of activities
going on.
Yeah,
on the weekends.
I feel like if I post an inspector at those rental places where you could rent a backhoe, rent a small excavator on the weekend, because then that's where you also see where a lot of people who they do that work on the weekends because they don't anticipate that DPNR is on, you know? So one of the things that we did a few years ago was we created a hotline. It's called Tip 411, where people can call in, leave a message. You can text it. You can take a picture of where you see development going and you don't see a permit placard, and you send it in. And, we do have enforcement officers that are on the weekends. But again, my major priority for DPNR for all 3 districts is to just increase the level of staffing so that we can provide coverage, particularly for any of the programs that are taking place.
Water Island.
Water Island, we're actually...
The governor spoke about a potential development over there.
Yeah, I think that, we know the Water Isle development is still out there. There's still an interest in putting a hotel out there. The person who has the leasehold interest, it's been a few years since they've met with the department, but we've seen some of the changes that they were proposing. So, we're keeping an eye on what it is they want to do and make sure that, because again, this is the government interest that has had this leasehold interest there to put another hotel. But even on the community scale, we just actually executed a partnership agreement with the Water Island Civic Association where Fort Sagara is undergoing a restoration and renovation. And so we used funding that was provided
That's a publicly funded renovation.
Yeah, so it's the USEDA had a grant where we could improve on some of our tourism spaces. And we know how popular people visiting Fort Sagara is, but over the years, you've had people spray painting it, became just graffiti all over the place. Things were overgrown. So we're in the 2nd or 3rd month now.
Graffiti could be attractive.
It could be. I think if I show you the pictures of what was on there, it can
also be disastrous.
Yeah.
Too.
So, but we've definitely got some improvements. And again, I think one of the key things on historic structures is to also have the interpretation. So give a little piece of the history, show people what this structure is, what it meant. All that signage is going to be part of the final product. And not only on Water Island, but we also are partnering with the St. Thomas Historical Trust to do the same on Hassel Island, on 2 of the structures over there as well. So just wanted to improving these public spaces as much as possible. And again, enhancing the visitation or enhancing the community spaces, not only for our guests, but also for the residents who want to see all the beautiful places we have around.
And the Big Island.
St. Croix, my primary responsibility, or thing that I'm working on trying to get done before this administration is over, is we're using one of our FEMA PWs to move our main offices into our own building, our own facility. We're a medium-sized department. I think 100 employees. So trying on an operational side, rent kills us. Rent is a lot. So we were able to take one of our existing PWs. We're already set to finalize the purchase of a building and then now renovate that and make new office space, reducing our operating budget. And then next week, in terms of now on the policy side, we do have a hearing before the legislature. We're amending the zoning code to include micro distilleries and microbreweries across the territory in certain zoning districts. There's a lot of discourse about that, which is good, but one of the things again is that the zoning code was established in 1972, and even though they have words that say other and everything, because they knew that they couldn't comprehend all the different uses that would be in play in 2026, when something is really, really absent from the code, but it's an emerging sort of trend, you want to make sure that you now update your codes responsibly. And so microbreweries and microdistilleries is something that you see in the in the 2011 updated language for agriculture and agribusiness, you see those things in there. You see that small craft distilleries is something that we have, particularly on St. Croix. So we want to ensure that because it's something that is up and emerging and you're seeing more of, that we and even in the Vision 2040 and the ag plan, it talks about these other agriculture opportunity, or these other opportunities that are rooted in agriculture. And so we felt it necessary, the administration felt it necessary for us to, just like in 2005 when radio towers, cell phone towers became a thing.
Correct.
Right? Like we had to amend the zoning code to create a spot for them, create rules and regulations for them. So we're doing the same thing we did 20 years ago, and we're creating a definition, creating rules and regulations for the micro distilleries and microbreweries, and so that we get a lot more coverage with it.
I wanted to ask you, since you mentioned cell phone towers, what about those areas that are what we want to market, but because of the location, we don't have cell phone coverage? How do we do that balancing act there?
So over the last 3 years or so, this has been the EDA provided a lot of funding to states and territories under the bipartisan infrastructure law to increase area cell phone coverage. And so I would say on all 3 islands, our Coastal Zone Management Division has been holding a number of hearings for where cell phone towers would go. I think there are 13 or 14 new sites. And again, the idea is to get coverage, particularly for the FirstNet towers, which would allow complete coverage for first responders.
Yeah. Let me take a break there on that note. Time. I just realized that we're coming up on a break. So we take a break. We pick up the discussion with the cell phone towers cell phone tower issue with Commissioner, DPNR Commissioner Jean-Pierre Oriol. Be back right after this. I'm back here and analyze this with Commissioner Oriol from the Department of Planning and Natural Resources. Good morning, Commissioner, once again.
Morning again.
So you were talking about the cell phone towers and how we do the balancing act here, because the locations are somewhat, out there, for lack of a better term. And you really don't want to take away from that, because people, part of what they pay for is that isolation. But at the same time, you need communication.
Right. And I think that first and foremost, like, one of the things that we've seen in the analysis by the teams are the locations that are being selected because again, this is still private entity, even though it's public funding that's been awarded. Are we getting maximum coverage first and foremost? There have been a couple of areas that I can say that the CZM commission members as a whole have questioned, gone back, asked for additional analysis, because if we're proposing to put in a monopole that doesn't seem too intrusive or anything like that over here, but if you go 200, 300 feet east or west and there's an existing pole and it's much, much higher elevation where seemingly you would get more coverage, the committee has come back and said, hey, why are y'all installing a pole when 200 feet away? And because again, right, like the money is available there to install and put in, but not necessarily to lease space on an existing pole. But at the end of the day, the committee members are not saying what's the easiest for you or most economical for you. They're saying what is the best thing that we are supposed to be doing. So there is a balancing act that has to be done. And again, for us, particularly where the antennas would go in for the first responders and the FirstNet system, it is very important that we are installing those, because our first responders need that communication. We hear it all the time, particularly in the St. Thomas district, where when somebody is dialing 911 or something like that and they're getting Puerto Rico as opposed to our own thing, like it's coverage. We want to make sure that if an ambulance is dispatched from a particular location to get into these areas that right now don't have coverage, the idea is that the coverage will be there, the radio communication will be there, and they'll still be able to connect with the base, so that if there's any questions about where the location that they're headed to is, they're able to respond and still maintain the timeliness as well.
And cell phone in general, how they operate is very, very sensitive. I was in Detroit. In my hotel room, one part of the room had me in Canada, and another part had me in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I go to one part, and the roaming want to kick in, and then I go to another part, and I done American soil.
Correct.
So
imagine how the folks on St. John feel, right?
Exactly. With that proximity. The questions from our listener: has the territory adopted and implemented the planned USVI recommendation?
We're in the process of that. So again, in December of 2024, the Comprehensive Land and Water Use Plan was passed by the legislature. And
that's a public document.
Yes, yeah. Public document. They can go on planusvi.com and see what exactly the final version that was passed. And what we had the contractors actually do was provide us what are some of the low-hanging fruit 1 to 3 year items that we could do? What are some of the 3 to 5? And then what are like our 5 to 10 long-term goals? And so the first thing that was identified that could be done in that 1 to 3 year mark was a lot of the agency reform. Where are the things in terms of our rules and regulations? Where are the things in terms even our applications, where we could have some reform that touch base and speak to the what some of the things that were called for in the plan, and then also the comments that were all collected from the public, where enforcement provisions need to be better. Like, for example, our zoning penalties. The zoning office, in order to get a penalty executed, has to send somebody a notice twice for non-compliance. and then send that to the AG's office, and our penalty is $75 for the day. Like, so that's not an effective type of strategy. It's not going to be punishment enough to warrant any change. And so our goal right now,
So you're looking at recommendations to increase that significantly?
Like, again, I think I'm around like 2,000, and not max fine 2,000
recurring,
but rather like it's 2,000 per day. Like, and the reason why is because
you need a deterrent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if somebody is operating a business out of a residential area, like one of the ones that comes to mind is how constantly having to go to the same neighborhood because a tow truck company is confiscating vehicles, but then bringing them back to where they live. And you're allowed to have your vehicle there for your business, but you can't come and now park up in the neighborhood, and especially in the old neighborhoods, right? Park up side of the street and you got all these confiscated vehicles. No, this is a residential area, but right now that's $75. Like, that ain't fair, So let's make it work, right? Like, when we say, hey, you gotta move it now, or face this penalty cumulatively. And then also take the courts out of it, make it administrative. Like, if you don't comply, then I go to the court, right? But what we have seen in certain instances when we go to the court, for example, I serve on the Waste Management Authority board, and I've seen where their enforcement officers have written $1,000 ticket, but you know how it says its max fine is $1,000. The courts have reduced some of those $1,000 tickets to $50,
The court has
$100.
discretion.
Yeah. So
you want something definitive, and because bad behavior, like, something needs to be there to be able to curb the bad behavior, right? Like, we don't tolerate it, we don't like it, but what we have right now is not effective, and so let's make it effective. How do we file obvious building code violations?
So obvious, like, what takes place is that my office will put a non-compliance sticker on something that is non-compliant for whatever it is, whether they didn't get a permit, they're not doing it to the drawings that were stated, everything like that. By law, you have 30 days to correct your non-compliance. After that 30 days, if you haven't, I have to give you another 15-day notification. But at this time now, if you haven't, it's $500 per day penalty, right? But I need to go to the AG's office to correct. If you want
the $500 a day that goes into effect on the first day of the 15-day window, or the day after the 15-day window?
First day.
First day of the 15-day window. Okay.
Because now you're in the full non-compliance thing if I have to go to the court. If you do comply, right? And so, like, let's say it's something you failed to get a permit for. So you would come in, you would file. There still is a penalty because you could get what you wanted, but you're required now to pay the penalty amount, which, depending on the type of violation it was, if it's cumulative, but all plumbing, electrical, everything, like you were building everything without a permit, then it becomes 7 times more than what you would have paid after you add up all of the penalties.
You mentioned earlier in the conversation staffing being a problem. What we're dealing with now is what you're talking about now in this part of the conversation is an extension of that. You need the workforce.
Correct.
So in talking with the governor, because that's your boss, how do you go about addressing these needs? Because if you got attrition at your agency, and you got needs where enforcement are concerned, then you're working uphill.
Yes. So specifically on the building permit side, what we were doing is we got together with the Department of Labor because, a few years ago they ran the construction management course. and again, there's so much construction that people want to be on the private side of things, right? And it's not like that's drying up anytime soon. But what we did was, we wanted to work with the Department of Labor to now create a program for certification for Virgin Islands building code that's consistent with the ICC, and present that as an option as well, so that you don't feel like you have to be in the exact construction management or in the field, but you also have an opportunity on the regulatory side. So it's providing that same level of training. And then as part of that, there would be some on-the-job training, shadowing some of our existing inspectors and such. But to try and build that workforce and then have them and say, hey, look, we have an opening or opportunity. Because like right now, people that can read or draw plans, right? Like I need 3 plan reviewers to keep pace with now that, especially after the electronic submittals. Everybody is, putting in an application on a Saturday night and hope by the following Friday that the permit is issued, right?
Yeah, but you competing with the economy of skills.
Correct.
And
If people we're losing.
You see, you're being candid, and I appreciate that. If folks know there's more money to be made on the private side where planning is concerned as opposed to working for the government. And people, a lot of people work for the government not just for a job, but because of the benefits.
The security.
You check what I'm saying? Yeah. Exactly. So that's a dilemma. I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah, I mean, so what we cannot compete with the private sector, but we can be competitive in terms of making sure people understand that you can make a living working for the government. You can have that security. You don't have to worry about when these 3 jobs are finished, I don't know where else I gonna go, right? Like, cause the construction industry itself, the underground stuff itself is, it can be extremely fickle. Your contractor, whoever you working under, could have a solid amount of jobs right now, but that doesn't mean that 6 months from now, he has all of that lined up or everything. And so you may not be able to go from job to job to job to job and know that you have that security. If you work for the government, yeah, you'll make a little bit less, but you do have that security, right? Like, I mean, because as long as there's development in the territory, we are going to be in need of people to regulate that development. Mm-hmm. And so and
people aren't in the regulating business.
No, they're not. I mean,
they're in the making money business.
Correct. So like, that's the thing is like I said, we have to be competitive, right?
Because a government job, by definition is public service.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking for you. I'm just speaking in general.
But you can make a living, but it is not the immediate.
No, but when you just look at construction, right? You could either get into construction itself, or you could get into regulating the construction.
Yeah.
And the dollars there in the construction.
Correct. Yeah.
The security there in the regulation.
Right.
But that still requires, you could hire laborers on the construction side and the private side with no certification.
Correct.
There's certification required when you're talking regulation.
Correct. Or for us, even what we've done is from all the money that we have received, we brought down the trainers so that if you don't have the certification, we are paying for the classes online, giving you time during the week to go through them. We've brought down the trainers from the ICC, administered the tests on our dime because we want to make sure that the training is still available there. The next evolution of where we could go with this, it's a lot more money, but it's actually having a third-party company come in and then now also be part of the training that workforce.
But why not? So we don't have that here, or can't we put together a consortium to create that kind of company?
So we haven't been able to put together that consortium here. We've entertained offers from a couple of outside entities that have done this in other jurisdictions. The thing is that the soft cost for bringing in is is what drives the thing to make it like, you know, if I were to have 9 individuals come in, and so that's plan reviewer, inspector, and they're going out with my team, showing them, you know, just doing on the job training with them, and they do that for a year. I mean, we've gotten estimates of $4 million, $5 million to be able to do that. And that's because when you look at all the soft costs, the housing, the this, the that, all of those things are being factored in,
Yeah.
and so it becomes a little cost prohibitive for us to do it fully at that amount, but it's still a good idea for us to increase that training for our people as well.
Commish, always a pleasure to talk with you. Looking forward to hearing about good things where development is concerned within the confines of the plan, water,
Land and water
use plan, and looking forward to talking with you again in the future. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thanks for having me.
That's Jean-Pierre Oriol, Commissioner, Department of Planning and Natural Resources. Tomorrow we'll be talking with ODR Director Adrian Williams in hour number 2, and the Power Hour is back with Kyle Fleming in hour number 1. Be good, be safe. Talk to you then.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.